It's about to go down with Marc and Cathey, a live coaching show about dropping ideas. Marc and Cathey coach and have conversations with brilliant idea creators who are reimagining the world through the expression of their words, thoughts, and action.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of It's About to Go Down. I am Marc Williams.
And I'm Cathey Armillas, and I'm super excited. We have Lennox Jeffrey here with us today. Lennox so technically he's licensed as a financial coach, a financial advisor, financial consultant, and he loves his job and he's so good at it. But one thing that Jeffrey's going to talk to us about today is that his heart and his soul and his passion lies in mentoring the youth and mentoring them in money, in life, and in emotional intelligence. I'm super excited about Lennox's idea, which is this: stop chasing wealth and start chasing life. Woo! Fire. Lennox, welcome to our show. And I'm excited to hear the background of your idea and your story. Please tell us more.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. Just going back, when I was 14 years old, I lost a best friend to gun violence, which was a big, devastating thing in my life. I knew him since I was like 4 or 5 years old. And when that happened, it created a fire in me to not only help other people, but really to make a difference, right? As I got older, I graduated college. I was in a position where I was living check to check. I eventually became a substitute teacher, then led to be a teacher, then became a high school counselor and coach. Then I got into the financial game because I realized so many people are struggling with their finances. And I had the ability to be mentored to learn the game, to teach people how to do it. So I said, you know what, I can learn this thing and then bring it back to the community to teach people the game. But while I was at that program, I noticed that a lot of the guys were not engaged when I was in the school, and they had hoodies on. People had, was looked at as kind of like they couldn't be helped. And I said, listen, let me get a period with them once a week. Give me lunch, give me something to drink, just give me some free time with them. Let me put a program together. The school averaged about 10 people per class. That meeting, I went to school, I created almost like a fraternity thing. The average attendance was like 21 guys per meeting. Then I realized all I was doing was facilitating, and every week I created a different lesson for the year, every week. Just the whole week was spent on a different lesson. So quality. And it was just more of a safe place. And it was such a beautiful thing. It was almost like I was helping myself. So I saw it as every time I saved them, I'm actually saving my friend and myself over and over again. Now, I lost like 9 people to gun violence out of these young men over the many years I've been doing this. So now I'm at a place where not only am I mentoring them, I'm expanding and going really bigger to bring it more online, where I've connected with like 80 guys across the country that also deal with men. It took me about 10 years to do this. And now we're going to bring the platform where we're going to be teaching life, money, and emotional intelligence through YouTube. That's going to be the hub for everyone to learn the game, and men can feel safe. Young guys can feel safe. I deal with like 16 to 25-year-olds. They can feel safe in their homes and through their phones, whether in gangs or not. And they have a place to have a brotherhood, and then we can expand from there. So everything now has come together. I'm no longer check to check. I'm able to help people across the country because I'm licensed in like 19 states, but I get to really spend my time, my passion, helping these young men, not only putting them on track, but I have a lot of positions where I'm connected to jobs where I can get them into jobs as well.
Wow. First of all, I just want to applaud you. I really just want to applaud you. And the fact that you said that I'm going after saving my friend, like every time I help a young man, it's like I'm helping that friend and I'm helping myself. So as an educator, I applaud you and I thank you tremendously for the work that you do. And I guess one of the things that I'm curious about, because you told us in another conversation that you really want to be able to expand this, right? You want to get this on a global scale, and that's why you're having this idea conversation with us to figure out how to do that. One of the questions that I'm really curious about is there one particular like thread of advice that you give to every young person that you engage with?
Honestly, that's a good question. What I would say I tell them is, like, first of all, I do three things. I call it triple R theory that I created years ago when I was a teacher. That it's a triple R theory. One, I always respect them first. It starts with respect, right? Like, I show them respect first, not just, oh, you got to respect me. No, I respect them first, right? Then I ask them questions to find relation to them, right? To relate to them, right? Let them talk, and then and you really listen, because a lot of them don't have people actually listening to them, especially in today's world. It's just like so fast, right? Then once I relate to them, I don't have to use it right there. I'll seriously put homework in, like say if they're a LeBron James fan or, something like that, right? I'll look at the numbers, I'll watch it, whatever. The next time I see them, listen, hey, LeBron had 40, right? So now the last R is respond to what now I know is the relation, right? So then it's something so subtle. They see that I listen to them. They see that I ask them questions about them, because if you want to have a good conversation, focus on another person, right? And then the last thing is I respond to them, and then we start establishing relationships. So then we can build for them, and they know it's a safe place. Now, and the answer to your question, one of the things that I do now that I'm in a position where I know the game itself, like in terms of money and finance, all that stuff, I don't focus on school stuff. I focus on what's the end goal first. Like, what are you doing school for? What is your passion? Like, what do you want to do in life? And let's identify that. So we can say, what's the end goal look like for you? What do you want? What are your goals and dreams? And now let's work backwards, create an incentive of, now that we have that, now you have a reason to go to school. Now you got to get the degree, because it's not just to get a job. Let's look to fire your boss by 25, 30, forget 65.
Love that. Ooh, Lennox, I love your triple R and everything that you said. I mean, wow. I love the respect. And then it starts with you respecting them first, because you're not just demanding the respect, and the relation and relating, which is like listening to them, and then being able to use that relation piece to be able to respond. Wow. Already that's such a beautiful, like, I can tell how much you put into this, and how
life.
Yeah, your whole life. Right. Your whole life. I also didn't know that you were like licensed in 19 states, by the way. That's super cool. Like, I can see how you, like, I can kind of see this process of how you like figured it out, and you're just trying to keep replicating it and showing the kind of behind the scenes for everyone else. Marc, I love the question that you asked him, like, where did he start? And I love your answer, Lennox, because it's kind of, I think with almost anything, you should start with the end in mind. It's a really good place to start, because I was even thinking about the kids being in school, and they might be learning things that don't have anything to do with the end that they might have in mind. I mean, you both obviously have teaching. I'm not downing on schools or anything. Well, you both have teaching backgrounds, but there's a bigger picture here that's to play. So I want to get to the idea though, because I love this idea, right? So if that's kind of the technical piece of what you're teaching, how do you get people to start chasing life? Like, what does that look like?
First of all, most people, what I've identified is people just get caught in the hamster wheel. Most people are not. I see people as a person wrapped in a cocoon, right? But the cocoon is not of their making. What's happening is all the coaches, all the teachers, all the doctors, the lawyers, the parents, the aunts, the grandparents put their ideologies on people. And people never really got to know who they are, or they don't even know how to identify who they are. So what happens is you get older, and in order to really break out to be yourself, you have to go against everything you have learned in the past, because those are all limited beliefs that people put on you. Because people don't really say positive things when they talk to you. They say, oh, like, for example, I have 2 daughters, right? And I don't like roller coasters at all, right? It's just not my thing, right? I just can't do it. I know my limitations. Right? But my daughters love it. But the first time they went to get on a roller coaster, I didn't get on it, but I didn't tell them because I was crazy scared out of my mind to get on the roller coaster. But if I would have told them that I feel like if you get on it, you're going to get hurt, they wouldn't have done it. So I didn't put my limiting belief on them, but a lot of people would do that, right? So then that automatically puts them in a fear state of mind, and they'll never get on it, not realizing they would absolutely love it. So as we become adults, we have to learn how to start to really question things and what was taught to us, no matter who it came from, and start looking at it like this. Why do I think like this? And get around people that's in the higher levels than you, so you're in control of your frequency, who's around you, the positive vibes over the negative vibes, and then start looking at it as, you know what? Let me go through the struggle because people can't hand it to you, and that's the cocoon. You got to shake it off. As that caterpillar, you got to walk through the concrete a little bit and climb up the tree and almost get eaten a couple of times. But when you get to the top and you break through that cocoon, you're actually free to fly wherever you want to as that butterfly, because you have completely metamorphed, not just physically, but it started in the mind. So when I sit with young people, I sit with adults, and I ask them, what is life to you? Majority of people have no idea what is life. So how can you live something that you have no idea about? Like when they'll say things like money, they'll say things like relationships, but all these things are movable. Those that can't be life, right? My simple definition of life is moments and memories. That's all it is. All right. Everything we do comes down to moments and memories. So if we understand that, then relation to money, we work a job to make money, to invest in things that's going to make money for us without us having to trade our time, so we can focus our time in life, spending it with the people we love and care about, creating more moments and memories. That's it.
I love that. Yeah. Wow.
Cathey, I got to ask you, because there were a couple of things that Lennox said, and with your concept genius brain, I'm just wondering how it's marinating in your head. Control your frequency.
Oh my God.
I love that.
I knew you were going to pick that one because I wrote it down and I circled it and I put a heart and I put a heart next to it.
That was amazing.
I love that. I do think that is a huge, well, there's a couple of things. And then the moments and memories, of course, you know, I love Lennox, I was pondering on the question and thinking, how would other people respond to what is life? And then your response was so beautiful, because all the other things you said are movable, right? Like people, even like people in your family, relationships, you know, money, things, of course, even where you live, like everything's movable, but moments and memories are not. Like they just are.
What you do, you think about it. Listen, I was on the train and I saw this guy did this. That's a moment in memory, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this picture. I want to get my hair like that. That's a moment. Oh, I remember when you were so small and you was like this at a funeral. You like, she was a good person. It really comes down to, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And we spend so much time chasing money that we never stop to realize that we have pretty much everything we need right now. Like we really have a lot. We can get more, but that's not going to make, like, what do we have that we appreciate now? But let's identify and let's start really enjoying life, because 100 years, even if you live to 100 years, that's a short time.
Yeah. So what's my concept, Marc? I'm gonna get geeky, because it's like, because Lennox is in finance, I'm gonna say it's like M squared. I'm thinking that the M squared is the because it's the thing to think about and to remember, right? Is Lennox already explained it. He said, the first thing I'm gonna ask the kids, I'm gonna ask them, what's your end goal? So what is the end? And what Lennox is in his end, and what he said is the M squared. It's moments and memories. So there's two pieces to this, right? If that's kind of the end goal, is like, you can only be in this M squared space or whatever, the moments and memories. The outcome of that is, or one of the actions of that, if you will, is stop chasing wealth and start chasing life.
Yeah. Because what exactly is wealth? Like, wealth is many things. It depends on who you're asking. Wealth for some, it's having a whole family around them doing Thanksgiving. That's unbelievable wealthy. Just seeing and cooking food and watching your family enjoy what you eat. Wealth can be, you can travel across the country. It doesn't have to be a financial thing. We get so caught up into wealth as money, but if you look at it, how happy is it once you acquire the cars and the house and all the stuff? Like if you have no one to share with, like how valuable is that?
Yeah.
You can only go do but so much on your own. At the end of the day, we all, no matter what race, background, nationality we're from, we all pretty much want the same thing. And if we start focusing on like real life intangible things that matter, like people and not just money, like it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very interesting when going back to this question, which I think is such a huge question. What is life to you? And for you to hear people say, like you said, the money, the cars, the wealth, and then it comes down to, and I don't know if this is your follow-up question, but what's the memory that you want to create with that money, right? Because for whatever reason, I don't know, our human brain or that cocoon brain, I don't think that's a real term, our cocoon brain, our cocoon rat brain always goes to the tangible first. So my question to you, Lennox, is after they give you the money, the cars, the clothes, the big house, how do you get them to then start thinking about the memories and the moments?
Well, one, I don't really answer questions directly for them. I always I facilitate and let them answer their questions.
Yeah.
So if I say it is wrong, if they say it is right. So I get them to say it, but I just facilitate for them to say it. Just put them in scenarios, like I said earlier, when you're in, like, I'll break it down, like think about all these different things that you've thought about. What does that really come down to? See, people wouldn't know, but we as a society, we spend our time putting people through the system ultimately to become workers. But working is not, it's not bad to work, but to work your whole life it's not quality. Like you spend your whole life just hustling and bustling. It's not quality. So when it comes to youth or adults, it's really getting people to see themselves outside of themselves. I do this thing with a clock, right? And I ask them, I say, listen, we all are psychics, right? And they say, psychics? I'm not a psychic. I say, you are, right? I said, here's what we do. Here's a wall, there's an imaginary wall. I want you to imagine a clock on the wall, right? Be whatever color you want, whatever, right? Then I have them imagine on the wall, right? Then I go around to them. I say, where's your clock at on the wall? Where's your clock? Where's your clock? Where's your clock? Right? They'll tell me. Then I say, okay, what does your clock look like? Well, this and that, whatever. I say, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give you an imaginary rock. Each of you have it. On the count of 3, I want you to throw that rock as hard as you can and smash that clock, right? You ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Smash, right? So in your head, can you see what happened to your clock? They say, of course, yeah. So I go to each person. All right, what happened to your clock? Is the clock still ticking? Did it hit the floor? Where's the glass at? So what I'm doing is showing them, like, these are reality things that they're seeing. Just because we don't see it don't mean this didn't happen, because if the clock really was there, it would have happened exactly in one form or another, exactly what they're saying. So it doesn't have to be there for them to predict it, right? But at the end of it, I'm letting them know, if there was a real clock here, would that have possibly happened to your clock? I said, yes. I said, okay, so the same way you can predict the way the clock is, you could predict your life.
I love that.
Yes.
You know what I think we should do, Marc?
I
have to say, Lennox, you have a very good system already. Obviously, you're doing great work. So, for our audience that's listening, and we're like, our goal is to, like, pull the behind the scenes, like this is like what we do when we coach people.
Mm-hmm.
Marc and I have to figure out like, how can we help you? If somebody's like just starting their idea and they don't know where, it's not well established or they haven't figured it out. And I don't think that's the case. I think our job right now, Marc, is more like, how does he get this out here? How does this multiply? So I feel like that's the bigger question. Everything we're asking him, I think he has it figured out. And so I don't know if the idea per se needs any work, but how do we take what he's saying and what would going big look like? What do you want, Lennox? Like, what would be your dream for like all the work that you're doing?
I want to bring the information to a bigger platform, I always thought I'd probably be a TV show host. I keep seeing that in my head, like a platform like that, to get it out, like almost like Teen Summit, how that used to be. Like I feel like I could control that and have, because the topics we can cover stuff, facilitate everything, and then also I want to put things on video, because if something happens to me, the information that I've learned over these years is unbelievable. I want to put it where it's not dependent on me. Like regardless whether I'm here or not, people for generations to come can learn this stuff and not waste so much time trying to figure it out, because I already figured it out for them. So it's just like, just listen. If you follow it, you'll be fine.
That's a legacy thing. That's really cool, Lennox. Really.
Yes. Go ahead, Cathey. Go ahead.
No, I would. So what I was going to say, so now that helps me a lot, at least now, is like, Lennox needs a bigger platform. Like what does that look like? Right. A TV show would be awesome. Gathering. I love this. Like maybe we could talk for a second. Maybe we could get in the technical, weeds for a second. Like, what have you been doing, Lennox? Have you done any little video productions, or what have you done so far?
Well,
that's kind of public facing.
Well, I just have all my content, all the lessons and stuff, and I know how to move the people. I've been preparing to bring it to YouTube. So, and like I said, the past 10 years, I've been connecting with solid people and guys across the country, St. Louis, Alabama, North Carolina, all these places, Detroit, where it's tough areas and stuff, where I'm setting it up where I'm letting them know to be ready, because I want not me just talking. I want all of these guys to connect, to be at one place, to give their feedback, and that channel be the hub where they can go back. Because my biggest worry was I could teach it to them, but then what happens when I can't spend the time with them? So that's why I connected with the guys that's already dealing with groups, so that they can use the channel as a hub and then facilitate with their own groups and talk to their guys. So then now they have their relationships, but they all share the same the same concepts and terminologies. So what happened is we literally are a big fraternity around the world through that channel.
Yeah.
And Lennox, I heard you say that you've been preparing for YouTube. That sounds like to me that you've already recorded or produced some videos. Is that the case?
No, I was looking at using like StreamYard, because StreamYard, you can be on multiple platforms at the same time doing it. And it's almost like a TV show with like still through the screen. And it's like, but I've been prepared. I have the lessons already, of course, but I haven't done videos. Most of the stuff been live, but I just realized it's too small. Like, because I realized if I help these people, these guys got a lot of testimonials, it's not enough, because there's so many people across the country going through the same thing, and they need to see this stuff.
What's getting in your way of recording videos on content you already have? What's getting in your way?
Well, it's not in a way. Now this is the next step. So remember, I still have to juggle, because I have both businesses. So I have my financial business, and then I have that. So it was just getting started and just putting it into play now. So it's just really.
I have an idea for you, Lennox. What if, because one of the first things that you said is you wanted to do a TV show. Why don't you make it? Why don't you create your own TV show? Why don't you name your TV show?
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do it, but I would love that, because I dream that. Like, I see it in my head, like being on there.
Lennox,
hold on. TV shows get picked up? Literally, some TV shows get picked up because people on YouTube created the TV show, created the following. And then guess what? That some network came along and said, hey, we want to syndicate it. We want to put it out there. and you could have multiple, you could have international, like
Yeah.
you are the same thing that you're teaching. I would definitely put back to you. And it's like, the first thing I heard you say is, I would love to have a TV show. And I'm like, make a TV show. Let's talk about making a TV show. What would you name it? Like, give it a good name. Would it be like The Wealthy Life or The Wealth of Life or something? Like, I mean, I was thinking about like, you know, playing on those words or whatever, give it a name. And then let's talk through what this TV show would look like. Would it be like the typical 28 minutes long? And then what would it like? Could you take, for instance, let's play a game, Marc. You know me, I love to play the game. Let's play a game. What if the TV show, because you have to have a format to a TV show, right? What if the format of the TV show was dispelling a myth? And that's what the whole thing would be. Maybe each show episode or whatever is dispelling a myth about wealth. I don't know. That's one thought, right? Let's play a game. What would your, what's an idea for the format from you two?
I would see it as like almost like a group setting, a bunch of people just sitting around on the stage, right? You have the people in the audience if they're going to do that, and we're just talking. It's almost like the idea that LeBron James have, like that he did with the barbershop.
Yes.
I've been had that, like that. I've saw that way before they even LeBron in the NBA. I envisioned that way before, but I've done it on so many levels, from elementary to middle school to high school. So I already know how it works, but I almost want like a bunch of guys where we're talking about real issues, real stuff, facilitating, having that conversation, and professionals can come in, whatever, you know, guests can come in, and it's almost like the world is getting to look into the conversation.
You know, can you know, playing along with this game, and I've seen that show with LeBron. It's a great show and it's a great concept. I'm glad that you had it first. I wish you would have beat him to the punch, right? We see a lot of shows where we have these experts and professionals come on. What gravitates me or resonates with me so much about your idea is the transformation, right? Having young people be involved in a conversation, you facilitating it, them realizing that it's not just about chasing wealth, but it's about chasing life.
Yeah.
And what if you had this show where, you might have one or two, you know, professionals, but the panel each time might be a group of young people who are trying to figure things out. So that as an audience, we can see maybe not the entire transformation, but the beginning of a transformation.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, even with celebrities, I wouldn't want them to come on with their celebrity hat. It would be literally their remembering when they was a young guy, like the real self, not ball player such and such. You come in here dropping the stuff. Like, I want professionals like computer techs. We're talking about careers, different things. We have different segments on it, like showing people that you don't have to just play sports or rap and stuff. Like, the goal is to give them a vision and multiple facets of life to do it. Maybe we have an NFT segment, cryptocurrencies, breaking things down. Why does this relate? Like, what do you? So it really is organic. Like, that's the beauty of it. My job is to create the questions, but I already know where I'm going to move them to, and I know they're going to move, but I want them to move each other through how they tell their own stories and how they say their stuff. So then what happens is, usually when they leave from me, I always make it where you have to teach someone else what I taught you, right? You have to share with somebody else, right? But also, while they're in that group, because multiple people shared their story, let's say somebody talked about how they got into a fight, right? And how they went down. Everyone in that group is going to experience that same thing at some point or another. But when they get in that situation, because they heard multiple aspects of the story, they now have different things to choose from, so they can make a better informed decision based on what they heard in the past.
They were able to run a snenario, basically, right?
They've already seen it. They saw how it played out. Oh, I got arrested when I did this. So they say, oh, you know what? No, no, let me do this. And the thing is, I'm not going after people physically. I'm going after people mentally.
Yeah.
So it's not a physical thing. The physical comes after the mind. So and they see through me that it's possible already, which is why it's important for me to be in the financial field, because a lot of people they look up to may not be in the best place. So because I have a nice car and I have certain things that matters to them as well.
I want to go back to this idea of really incorporating the young people that you're talking about, because I keep seeing these shows where the young people are sitting in the audience, always receiving the information, but to get them in to be a part of the panel is so important. And then I'm going to borrow this idea from Shark Tank, because you just made me think of it. Sometimes in Shark Tank, right, they'll have somebody who had an idea and they get an update, right? And like I said, in 28 minutes, you're not going to show the complete transformation. But for somebody to be able to come back, right? Because now I'm thinking as a parent, I would love to be able to look at this thing and say, you know, as a parent or as an educator, you know what? I got to get Sean on this episode, you know, with Lennox. I got to get him sitting in there. I could sit Sean on the couch in the house and turn on YouTube or turn on Fox.
That's the whole point.
But I want Sean on the panel. I want him in your presence, because I want to see the transformation. Because I think a lot of parents are often looking for somebody to speak directly to their child, to engage in their child.
People come to me like all the time. People could reach out to me to help their son, 17, 18. I have relationships with so many of these young guys. I have success when I used to work as a counselor in the school. One of the things when they went to graduate, I made a big deal about it. I had a wall of graduates where they graduated. I would have them get their diploma. We have to copy it and then take the diploma, and they got to come to the wall and they got to pick a spot on the wall and staple it up on the wall. Like they got to staple it. So I have the whole wall of graduates over. Even last year, so, you know, with my company, I did, like, I'm a DOE vendor. So schools hire me to come in and mentor the youth and stuff. So teach life, money, emotional intelligence. So the school gave me about 23 students that was disconnected, not coming to school, close to graduating, but they was like unplugged. I got 17 of them to graduate. Out of 23. So I already know the formula works. I already know what I'm very confident. I love these kids. Like, I feel very natural in that space. They feel my energy because I am them and I know exactly where they are, and they can feel my energy also. And they know that I'm genuine because I operate more on spiritual. Like, I believe that we're spirits first over physical, not physical over spiritual. So I always know who I'm talking to because I can feel the energy. I know who I'm talking to. And they know I'm coming from a place of helping, uplifting, positive. So it's like, I'm not bringing negative stuff to them. And again, respecting them, relating to them, responding to them. It's you know, at this point, it's just natural for me. I'm doing it for so
Lennox,
long.
I think what Marc is saying to you, which I think is really good, is like, you get this great opportunity to work with 23 kids and 17 of them are, you know, doing great things and stuff. But you're limited right now to whoever you can directly affect. Right. If you can find a way to do the two things you mentioned, which you would love to have a TV show. And then Marc is saying, well, why don't you bring the actual students and the people that are directly being affected by it? Not only will you help them in your format, but I think you'll be able to help anybody watching. I mean, I'm hearing you and I'm going, oh, this sounds amazing. But I feel like you're doing this behind a closed door somewhere that not the whole world is not seeing. And so I think that's what Marc's saying, is like, open the door completely. You know, I can't, I agree with them. I mean, I don't know if at this moment that means you have to like overthink it or overproduce it. I don't think you have to, but I would be trying to figure out, even if step one is just like, how do I create this format where I can facilitate this? How can maybe we do a hybrid between the professionals that you're talking about and the students? Could you have them sitting in the same space? The students are living on one side of it, and then the professionals also can relate back to the kids, like you said, you know, to moments and memories. But how can you facilitate a space where maybe these they're together and they're helping each other, you know? And I'm sure you have all the right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I kind of said. Marcus, I was like, I don't doubt I bet if we sat down with Lennox for hours, he'd show us everything that he does. And I don't doubt your system at all, Lennox. I think you have a great system. I think our job right now at this moment is like, how do we get it out there? Like, what could you do? What could be your next step to get it to a bigger, why aren't more people doing this? And how do we get to this way? Because you said it, like, how do we like train the trainer? How do we train other teachers to do what you're doing? How do we get that out there more? How can we duplicate this and get people to get in that same space you are? So that's the question I'm asking right now.
Yeah, well, I'm open to learn, to be able to get to that level. Because I feel like it's unique. Like even my parents, I love them. Like my father, he passed away 2 years ago this week. And it's like, he poured a lot, him and my mother, into us, my brothers and sisters, to put us in position. Like my father, like he worked from so young, to help he's from Guyana, to help his family get to this country. He got his mother here first, and then he worked from like 11 years old, like pushing. Then he worked to save up the money to get himself here with my grandmother being in the States. Then they bought a house, all kind of stuff. My father did not want me to have the hard life that he had. So him and my mother, they put me in all camps. Sometimes they put me in all Asian camps and all white camps and all black camps, because they wanted me to be exposed to not just my community, to learn how to interact and deal with people and stuff. So I feel like then my neighborhood I was in, I grew up with a diverse neighborhood, and we really played back then. Now people don't play. So I have like, there's so much like culture there from, and playing and just different things that I need to bring to them. I have to put it on a bigger level. It just has like, I owe it to so many people, like, to bring it to a bigger level. If you could help me do it, I'm all for it. Of course.
Marc, what do you think about this? And I'd love to hear your take on this. Lennox, I love this, by the way. Your why is so beautiful. And I love the heart of just wanting to get out there. What about starting with one, right? What about starting at the smallest level that you can? Meaning, because I mean, ultimately, if we take Lennox's own formula, if you will, like starting with the end in mind, like the end is that he wants to have a TV show, would love for everything that he's learned to live on, even when he's not around, and he wants people to, have this knowledge and have what he has. What if it's just starting with one? What if it's starting at the smallest level? Because we just need to grow it, but capturing it in a different way. You're already doing it. So like, what would that look like? Could you get permission from from parents of one kid that you're like, I'm going to like take this whole journey and I'm going to record it all and then see what I can do with it? Like how can we start? And how can it, I mean, I'm going to push back on you a little bit, Lennox, because I have some experience in the TV world and some things that I've done in my past ended up on TV shows. And I kind of know the formula of what they look for. And although a show of like people, teaching things sounds interesting, probably to all three of us, there's some other components that are missing for an actual TV show, right? So if you really do want it to be in that format, a TV show, like what are some of the things that you have to show? And Marc mentioned some of them, right? Maybe you're showing, even if it's in the 28 minutes, you're showing some kind of transformation. You're able to show a growth. You're able to show a change of heart, change of mind. I don't know, Marc, what do you think?
Well, I love the idea. And I'm already thinking about, you've worked with like a room of 23 kids, but you've worked with tons of kids. You've got plaques on the walls from kids who have done it. Even if starting small meant, because getting permission for some of the younger kids you're working with could be a little tougher. What if starting small was short videos with you and some of your, I'll call them alumni, who can speak to their experiences? Right? Maybe I have
that. I have testimonies, man. I have those.
Well, I'm talking about bigger than a testimonial, right? It's not like, I went through this program and Lennox is amazing, and I've seen some, like, give us the story, because Cathey and I talk about it all the time, and people love stories, right? And so if you were to engage me, even if it wasn't 28 minutes, maybe it was 18 minutes TED Talk, right? Even if it was like 18 minutes, right? Where it was a conversation with you and a young man who you helped transform. And you could talk about one particular story and one particular issue that you had. And what was the process? Like, what was that like defining moment between you and this young person that transformed his or her life? Because there's probably other people out there, whether they're kids or whether they're parents or whether they're educators, who know somebody else that they're working with right now who's going through that. And then I start to get introduced to this powerhouse mentor out there and all of these powerhouse transformed young men out there. And now I get to know about it, right? Because you said one thing before. You said you want to bring this to people. Well, the only way to now bring it to people is to show it to people, right? And so that's what I would think about, just you and one other person.
That's documentary style too, right? Like people love documentaries right now. And it just feels a little bit more documentary style where you are going back to a past thing. I like that, Marc. That's pretty brilliant. You're going back to something that already happened and you're taking us through from the beginning. So minute one, we're going all the way back to before it started. We're talking about, oh, this is how it was before. This is where this person was at and what they were doing, what they were thinking, and running it through. Yeah, Lennox, I feel like we're just sitting in a brainstorming space, but I think in order for your dreams to come true in this space, you have to make some crazy risk out. You have to be like, okay, I want to do it, but there's so many other people teaching out there. I feel like you're bigger than that. I feel like what you want to do is so much bigger than that. And there's already courses on wealth building and financial freedom and having a good life. All the things that we're probably talking about, there's something out there, but there's not Lennox and there's not the way Lennox does it. And so those are the things that you have to capitalize on for your TV show. Maybe you even have to really think about, what do I do that's so different than everybody else? Like, what is part of your process that you've learned that's so different? So how do we highlight that every show? How do we show something that you're doing that other people aren't doing? You learn something and you're like, it's weird, it's unorthodox, but I'm doing it.
Is that the M square piece that we were talking about earlier?
Possibly. Could be. It's a pretty simplistic, but yet powerful place to start. And I could see your tagline of the show being like, stop chasing wealth and start chasing your life. I can even picture that being like maybe the opening or closing or something. It's like, I can kind of picture that, but I don't know. How are you feeling about that, Lennox?
No, I'm still processing everything. I'm still.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a lot because I'm more of the creator. I don't necessarily, I can plan, but it's kind of weird. I learn when I'm talking. It's weird. When I'm talking, if I plan, I still have to plan the structure. Like Marc and I, we've done, Toastmasters and stuff. So you have to plan stuff. But at the end of the day, when I'm in it, there's no real thinking. It just flows. It just flows. I know organically, okay, transition, this, that. I just need to get them. They film it and we go. I know where we are, what's the end goal, and let's make it happen. That's really all I need, because once people see it, it organically takes off on its own, and we're gonna laugh and we're gonna stop and we're gonna joke and be silly. It's just to have fun. It's like the barbershop. It really is like that. Like how the barbershop is that feeling of the barbershop, a safe place created. We're going to talk about real stuff, talk about the things that a father should have really took the time out to talk to them about.
Ooh, I like that too, Marc. I know, I see that just hit me too. Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Wow.
Well, see, Lennox, that on a technical aspect too, that's really that's a simplistic thing too. It's like, okay, awesome. Then grab somebody that can be, maybe grab a camera crew, which might have 2 cameras or one person filming with 2 cameras, set up some kind of scenario. Where would you set it up? Right. And then have 10 people come in and you film your first 10 and then go, these are just going to be 10 conversations. And I know, that you're just going to flow and you're going to, and maybe it be, maybe Lennox, your name of your show is things your dad should teach you or things your dad should have taught you or something like that. Like that's kind of a cool thing. Although I don't know about
It's the same exact thing as you see these shows like Drink Champs and all this stuff. It's the same for what makes those successful. It's just that those shows really do negative things. Like they really focus on things that's not productive to change to better. It either stagnates or makes them worse, and it's just more entertainment value.
Yeah.
It's not getting stuff out of it, but it's the same exact vibe, the same feeling that comes from it, but it's giving you the blueprint of life at the same time, when you actually leave out of there filled up with, I can do this. You know what I mean? Like you can't be around my circle and not feel like you've gained something from it. It's just not going to happen. You just can't.
You know, though, but you talked a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of question you in this area of like, you know, you've talked about some of the real situations that these kids are in, right?
Yeah.
Like that, those things are relatable to so many people. So I know TV shows, if we're talking about the genre of TV shows, I know TV shows over dramatize everything, right? That's part of the formula, is like, oh, let's make it all negative and stuff. But what if too, by sharing real, authentic, vulnerable situations and then showing this process? And so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again,
no, definitely not. Transparency is important. Like that's a part of the formula, being transparent. Like I tell my pains, my hurts, my stuff. I'm transparent. Like I don't ever stand above them. We all, it's almost like my logo for the thing is almost like King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table. We all are on the same plane, facilitated. I'm no better than them. They're no better than me, because we all are leaders. There's things I could do, even though they're younger than me. There's things they could do better than me. So we all are essentially equal. I'm just facilitating the conversation, not taking it over. Like there's times I'll just sit back and it gets the energy where they're just talking, they're just vibing, and I won't say anything. I just let them go, because that is where their safety is at, right there, where they're free to just, I ain't got to worry about a drug deal or something going on or have to get a job. Right now, I'm just vibing, just talking, just letting it go. And then I can rein it back in, you know?
I'm wondering, because, you know, we keep referencing LeBron's like barbershop show, right? But one of the things with that is they're all celebrities. So some people will just tune in just because it's a celebrity, right? On the other hand, there's a lot of shows out there and podcasts where people are listening to success stories. But of course, there's sometimes more drawn in because it's a success story of somebody who's famous, right? So if you're not talking to famous people, and you know, that of course is a route, what's so different? I think this is what Cathey was asking. I thought it was a beautiful question. What's so different about your process that would make people want to watch a group of young men who they might not know and learn about their transformation? What is it about your process that would draw us in? What's so unique about it?
What's unique is I've been through all of the stages. And most people could have been through the stages, but hasn't reached the certain level that I've reached career-wise. Like say a person could have been through drama in the street, right? And know what the fighting like and been through that, right? But then they get to a certain point where they can only relate to them, but then they don't know the next piece of the puzzle to move them to that next level. So they can only relate to them. And then we just having conversations here, but that's not productive in terms of movement wise. It's just, I have a friend, I have an accountability partner, that we are here. But I know when we are together, we're going to relate, connect. I'm going to meet you there, but then you're going to move to your purpose and you're going to see it very clear. So I know the full spectrum of this life cycle, the whole thing, whether it's getting married, relationships, dating, money, parents issues, all of these things. Like these guys call me, like they'll call me 3 o'clock in the morning and let me know or talk to me about certain things. Like I'm on the post because, like I said, I am them and they are me. Like, so that's the difference. Like, I don't have to be fake with them ever. I'm always very authentic and transparent. Like, I'll give you this secret. One of my secrets is God, right? I'll tell you that, right? When I work out, when I pray for God to use my life to be a blessing for other people, right? I pray for God to give me the vision to see through people, to be discerning. I pray for God to protect my energy and the people that's around me, their energy. Don't allow the negative energy to come to me, right? I pray for God to bring me people that's going to help order my steps to move to the next levels of my life so that I can give back and bless other people, right? So when these things happen to me, I'm really not shocked at all because I prayed for these things already. So I'm just walking in a space that I know is happening and it's coming. So all I do is just study, continue to learn my stuff, get stronger in my craft. I don't really work on my weaknesses. I get stronger on my strengths to get better and better and better. So when the time comes, I'll be right there ready to bring that energy and bless other people's lives. So that's the secret weapon right there. God is really, they say prayer works. He really is giving me what I asked for, like so serious. And I'm ready to be used, but I just know if something happens to me, I have to put it on a platform that if I'm no longer here, it could still continue on without me. Because all of the guys I teach, they know I'm teaching them not to be me, but to be themselves, but to be the leaders so that they can continue to teach other people. So then I may not be the person to make the change like Tupac says, but I can affect the person that could ultimately make the change on a bigger scale for the global world.
Well, it's okay. So what if, Lennox, I'm going to throw another scenario at you. What if we remove the TV show for a second, right? Because I feel like you're very methodical in how you know, and I started hearing some things that you were saying right now that made me think, ooh, you first have to train people how to do what you do, like, because you were even saying, like, it doesn't really work if you're not able to like move them and there's something specific and there's a space you can sit in there with them to relate and do all these things that you said, you know, the kind of the relate, the respect, relate and respond. What if you started then, what if we go back and, you know, your ultimate goal is to like share this on TV and have other people doing it and it's kind of your method. But what if you created the program and you could put them in, so you create this whole program and it's kind of from start to finish. And then it's broken up into like, I mean, one of the things that a lot of people are doing right now is moving all of their stuff to a digital platform, right? So digital coaching sessions. If you want to go through a storytelling class, you can take a 90-minute class or you can take a 10-hour class and then you do them in like little chunks. What if you just do that first? Because I promise you, even going through the process of that it'll be fertile ground for like, oh, I could easily make a TV show off of this, or I could do this, but maybe just like sitting there and like going, okay, I'm going to pretend like this is my life's work. And how would I put it together? How would I piece it together and make a program, a digital program that will be on the internet and will be there forever. When I'm not around anymore, this is going to be out there. What would you put into it? What would that program look like? And that might be a really good place to start because of the methodology that he has, right, Marc?
No, that might be a really great place to start because then it's true, right? It'll linger around long after you're gone. I wanted to add to that because something else that's also big are these communities, right? Like there's Black Girls Run, there's the November Project, there's all of these things where they get together at a particular location for, let's say, 30, 45, 60 minutes. It's usually outside, so that's usually where they start to get all of this attention from. And those things, just those two examples alone, started as something local, like in a classroom with 23 young people. And then there were pockets of these communities in different cities and different states. And because Lennox couldn't be in every city and every state, he had, what'd you call it before? The the triple R or the M square, M square leaders, right? You could maybe the M square leaders or the triple R leaders, whichever you'd like to call them, and then they become people who run these groups, nationally, internationally. Listen, Boy Scouts of America, Boys Club of America, Toastmasters, all these different things started as a small group of people who met in one location, and then they got a leader to start their own chapter somewhere and somewhere and somewhere. And that's another way to build legacy, not necessarily on TV, but you build chapters and you can touch more lives. And since we're talking, since you mentioned Toastmasters, remember the creator, Ralph Smedley, right? Clearly passed away a long time ago, but legacy still lives on. So between digital platform or starting a community, there's a lot of things you can do to sprinkle this idea so that it continues to exist even when you're retired and laying on a beach in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I think there's a division too between like his methodology and then like the name of it. I'm gonna step up and be the marketing person for a second. Like I feel like it's like and maybe this is not sexy enough or it's too generic, but I feel it's like what you're saying is you want to build life wealth leaders, right? Because that's what it is, right? You want to teach the kids to be wealthy in life. So I just took the words that you came up with. Like I took your idea and I just boiled it down to something. So you're trying to build life wealth leaders. So you're teaching them how to be wealthy in life. And so I feel like that's what the program could be called. And I feel like that could be the community that Marc is talking about. And I love that, Marc. I think you did such a good job of bringing how communities can build things faster than any other, than anything. And I don't think when Ralph Smedley started, I don't think he had any vision of what would come to be, but other communities clung on to it and did. So
I'm gonna share with you. This is my logo, right? For my group. So it's Young Men's Brotherhood, right? This is the actual. Can you see this?
Oh yes. Yeah. Like move a little bit for a second, Lennox. Just so we could see the whole thing. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. And just tell us again what the three letters stand for.
Young Men's Brotherhood. YMB Nation.
All right, you already got a great name. This is the first time I'm hearing this though, so this is awesome. I love that.
Yes. Wow.
I love that, Lennox.
You understand? So it's this. I dreamt this. This is a dream I had. I dreamt this, and I had an artist design it for me from scratch.
Nice.
Ooh,
well, Lennox, just what are your quick thoughts on digital platform or creating a community with life wealth leaders?
Oh no, I'm with you on that. Like I was just thinking this morning, like I said, I'm constantly thinking, like I was thinking this morning about how to build a podcast. I was looking up YouTube videos to do a podcast with the same content, how to do the YouTube. So everything is centered around that. Everything is centered around that. So how to take it to a podcast, even I'm on Clubhouse a lot, like in like wealth rooms and stuff. Clubhouse is another thing. I'm thinking, how can I facilitate building an army of people within the Clubhouse talking about these topics through audio every day where people plug in consistently and we learn about the stuff through audio. So there's so many different ways, especially with this new digital world on how to move. And it's very attractive. Like I'm learning a lot about NFTs and the cryptocurrencies. I'm getting strong with that. So it's a lot of sexy, attractive things for people to want to pull to. So it's like, we just got to go get them. That's it.
Well, I would recommend, Lennox, my recommendation then would be, because I think that this happens to every single person that does some kind of expertise. We spend so much of our time actually practicing the thing that we practice. Mm-hmm. And we don't dedicate enough time in capturing it. So I would try to split your brain a little bit and go, okay, cool. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm on Clubhouse. I'm doing all these things that maybe might not be getting captured, and then just intentionally start saying, okay, I'm going to capture stuff for a podcast and make come up with a schedule where you have a certain percentage of your time that you're actually going to record things or capture them or videotape them and at least start gathering that. Then at least when you have it, you're like, okay, now it's not just me spending 8 hours today teaching it and doing it. There's a certain percent of that time that I actually captured it somehow. And then you can test it. You can do some testing. You could, maybe before you launch a whole podcast, you could create these mini things and send them out to people in your community and go, what do you think? Like, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. What do you think about this? But again, it starts with kind of capturing it because you're already doing it.
Yeah. Yes. I love that idea, Cathey. I love that. Listen, Cathey, you said it earlier. Lennox has something already put together that you have put 10 plus years into putting together. You have had immense success. The next level of success is reaching more people, right? And so we've had quite a conversation about the genius behind your idea and different ways and that you can kind of put it out there. So as we start to bring this to a wrap, my question to you is, we started off with, I've got a program that's all about stop chasing wealth and start chasing life. And from there, we talked about your dream of maybe putting this on a television show. Since we started this conversation, how has the idea changed or evolved or transformed for you since we started?
Based on everything we talked about, verbalizing it out loud, I'm ready. That's like, like Cathey said, you can prepare, but I'm ready. I just got to just get started. I'm not going to have everything. I'm going to make some mistakes, but I just need to start and just get it rolling.
What's your next step?
The next step is I'm going to look to do it on StreamYard, to do the YouTube channel, just release it and just see where it goes and go through the bumps and bruises. But I got to get used to a couple of things, but it'll take off. Once I get started, it'll start organically just making it happen. Then I can gradually move to the next levels of it. But I got to get started. I have to.
Yes,
execute. Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, at some point, we're going to bring you back so we can celebrate the different things that you put out there, because we have put it out into the universe. You have prayed for it. You have said it. So it shall be. So in the meantime, as we wait for it, where can people find out more about the brotherhood that you've created, about the life, wealth, and social, emotional intelligence? Where can they find out more about Lennox Jeffrey and the amazing work that you're doing? I'm
on Facebook a lot. You can go to my Facebook channels. Just my name, Lennox Jeffrey, Lennox, Jeffrey, Jeffrey. I do a lot of content every day in these topics, building people, uplifting. I got a small following, about like 10,000 people. So it's like, but I just create the content. You're going to come and feel good being in that space, right? I'm still working on my website for the Young Men's Brotherhood. I'm still working on that overall. But I can be reached, through my channel was good. Through my channel, I'm also on Instagram as Linspirations. So that's my channel. Linspirations, right? Then but I'll be releasing a program soon that I can be able to put out, where I'm going to start like really doing like coaching these young men in the group settings, but then also individual basis, where parents can reach out to me and I can start allocating time for them to move them through.
Capture it, because it's coming soon. Lennox Jeffrey, my man. Lenspiration. I love it, right?
Oh, I love that. Oh my.
Oh, wow. So listen, everybody, thank you for joining us for this conversation with Lennox. If you or anybody has ideas, maybe you've got something that's already put together and you are thinking about, how do I get it to that global scale? or you just have an idea and you want to work it through with an idea conversation, hit Cathey and I up at It's About to Go Down show. We love to have you on, talk about how to transform, evolve, and change your ideas so you can reach more people. And until next time and every time, thanks for joining us. It is another episode of It's About to Go Down.